What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna talk about how to become a VA provider, what steps you need to do. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I know a lot of you asked, hey Chris, how do I become part of the VA? How do I apply to be a provider for the VA? What do I do? What steps do I take? Well, guess what? You're in luck, because this video we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go into it, we're gonna discuss it, we're gonna get deep. So make sure you get out your pen and your pencils and your notebooks and come prepared. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. My name is Chris Shannon, the founder and CEO of ActivAge Daytime Senior Care. And today we're talking about how to become a VA provider. What steps are involved? So as you can see here, I got steps 1, 2, and 3. And there's some little intricacies in between each. And I have a little map on the whiteboard here. So on this map, you'll see the US kind of broken up into different regions. Really, for the purposes of this video and my own personal knowledge, I'm gonna try to stick to regions 1, 2, and 3 because we've gone through it and those 3 regions are very similar, whereas regions 4, 5, and 6 are a little different. So I'll explain to you what the differences are, but I will also make sure that I focus on the area that I actually have expertise in because we've gone through the process. So number 1, what is a CCN? Because you're gonna need to join one. A CCN is the Community Care Network, which was established as a way for providers in the community to build a relationship or to provide services in that area through the VA. So if a veteran is in need of certain services that they offer, but the VA themselves don't provide it, they want to be able to partner with those providers. And so they created this thing called the CCN and they're rolling it out. And right now, it's kind of going through this transition period where it was formerly known as PC3, which was person-centered community care something, and it was primarily done all through Tri-West. And as they've rolled out this whole new CCN, they're rolling out that through United Healthcare's little sub-category, kind of case management side of things, known as OPTUM. So it's confusing because as you apply and you start getting emails from some of these people, you're gonna see maybe United Healthcare, or you're gonna see names of different insurance companies, but at the end of the day, OPTUM is a subsidiary to United Healthcare. OPTUM is the one that oversees regions 1, 2, and 3. So just keep this in mind as we talk through this. And what is OPTUM? And what is this other insurance? And what do they have to do with the CCN or the VA, right? Well, OPTUM is what is known as a third-party administrator. And so whether you're talking about United Healthcare or its subsidiary OPTUM, you're talking about a third party who's helping to manage the contracts, the credentialing, and the claims processing on behalf of the VA. So this is just the starting point, okay? So you're gonna join the CCN, you're gonna pick up, I'll make sure I provide this link in the description, but you're gonna pick, I'm gonna send and upload this little fact sheet, okay? This sheet right here is a little PDF, which gives you kind of links and descriptions and places for you to go in order to actually access or call or to participate in joining the CCN network in your area. But for regions 1, 2, and 3, you're gonna apply through OPTUM, which is the TPA or the third party administrator. For regions 4, you're gonna apply through Tri-West, and regions 5 and 6 right now are kind of going through a transition. And so it's kind of ever changing. So when we put out this video to when maybe you go and look and apply in your area, it may have changed. And that's why I'm gonna provide you with this PDF, because it'll at least still direct you in the right spot. And by the time that you go to apply, maybe if you're in one of these other areas, 4, 5, and 6, you will be able to get recent information for that period of time. So that being said, back to regions 1, 2, and 3. Up here I put on the chart regions 1, 2, and 3. We're in Florida. So in the state of Florida, we're applying through OPTUM, and we're gonna go initially, we're gonna fill out the application and submit it. So we're gonna reach out to OPTUM. We're gonna ask about becoming a VA provider through the CCN network. There's a direct number for them. They're gonna send us a packet, and it's gonna include an application as well as certain information, such as maybe licensing or insurance or other things that are gonna help them with the credentialing process. So first you're gonna make the call, and now you're gonna enter and submit the application. And typically, from the time that you get in touch with someone, which may take a few attempts. It's not like you call them one time and then you get the application packet and you're on your way. You might have to call them a couple times, you might have to leave a message. It depends on how busy they are or maybe how well staffed they are. You might get lucky. I know when we applied, it was in late 2021. And so we dealt with some of the kind of these like residual effects of COVID, but maybe today, they have more people on their team and they got some of their systems figured out and it's more rolled out. That being said, it might be a little bit easier, but you're gonna call them and you're gonna get the application packet and you're gonna submit it with some of the requirements that they're gonna ask for. Now it's gonna go and move to the credentialing phase. What's gonna happen is that OPTUM is now going to verify your insurance, your licenses, maybe any background checks, whatever is part of the requirements for that application. They're gonna start to verify that, and that's me completed through OPTUM. By the time you send it back to them, just expect it to be 30, 60 plus days. Okay, at some point in time, they're gonna reach out to you or you're gonna be in contact with them and they're gonna say, hey, look, all of the credentialing on our side is good. You're not approved, but from what we can see, all the credentialing is complete on our end. Because there's still a final credentialing, portion of this process that happens at the local level. But they do the initial credentialing process. They say, okay, we're good to go. And now we move to the stage where they're trying to assign you to a local VA provider. And here's the stage where it gets hung up. Because the application is pretty easy and the initial credentialing is pretty easy. But this is the step that, being assigned to a local VA office, which includes two things. There has to be a need. So there needs to be people in the area who have requested adult day services in this case. And there has to be openings, meaning that they won't just allow a new adult day center to be a VA provider if there's not another opening for a new adult day center to be in that market. So if the need's already being met by the current provider, they may not necessarily open to new providers. And it's hard to tell what factor. They don't give you like a sheet that's like, oh, we have 10 on the list and we have this many people that have applied and like you're number 5 in line. They don't tell you that. All you know is that it's not the right time or an opening. There hasn't been an opening. There hasn't been a need established yet. And so we're just waiting. And you might call back every 3 months. You might call back every 6 months. And this might be different because when they assign this to the local VA office, right? They're actually assigning, so inside of this region, there's gonna be a VISN, which is a Veteran Integrated something network. There's gonna be regions within the CCN region that is made up of actual local VA offices that are specific down to certain areas. And so when you apply and they're waiting to assign you to that local VA office, that local VA office might be in your town, or it might be like the nearest town or city near you that handles the actual VA applications for that area. And so you're gonna sit there and play a waiting game. And this could be a period of time where it would not hurt to at least make anyone aware that walks in who is a veteran, make them aware of the fact that the VA does pay for these services and that they should reach out to their local veteran services officer and let them know that they would like to begin receiving these benefits that they're entitled to. This is gonna create a need. So now that's step number 1. You've created a need, right? People are coming in, you have multiple people, you're not a VA provider yet, but you find out that they're a veteran, you're like, hey, you're entitled to these services through our center. Make sure you tell your VSO. Now they tell their VSO, and the VSO shares that information with the local VA office, and now there's a need. The only problem is we don't know if there's an opening. Okay, so if you're maybe one of a couple adult day centers in your area, and maybe there's not a lot of new ones coming up, maybe there is an opening that is coming. Or if you send 2, 3, 4, or 5 people to that local veteran services officer to go ask about these services, that might create a greater need than that currently exists, which is going to help you get assigned. Okay, and that happened in our case. We had someone that came in, had seen our information, and they were expressing the need for our services, which finally allowed us to get approved. And this took literally a year from the day that we started the application process. And it was entirely because we got hung up on this local VA assignment to, because of a need and because of openings. Now, a friend of ours is in a completely different town, maybe 30 minutes away from here, they were able to get through the process much faster, and it only took them around 90 days. And the reason why is because for whatever reason, that local VA office had a much greater need and had the openings available, so they were able to get through the process faster. And so these are some of those things where as you're going through this process and you hear, hey, it was easy for, person A, but person B, they got held up in the system for like a half a year, for an entire year. Like, this is why. Now, once you've been assigned, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get your introduction, and it's gonna be to what is called a VA care agreement, or a veteran care agreement known as a VCA. This veteran care agreement is going to be the first time where finally you've been assigned to the local veterans office or the local VA offices, and you're actually going to be getting a participant agreement, an agreement to actually provide these services, okay? And so this is going to potentially require additional credentialing. Like, I know one of the things for us is there was something on our liability insurance that we needed to change, and so we made that quick change, submitted the change, then we were able to actually get the approval for it, right? So there was additional credentialing that took place at this stage of the process. And then once we submitted that to them, it was probably about another 30 or 60 days before we finally heard from the social worker who was establishing services with us, who basically sent a list of questions as to what the process was, how it works. Do we offer a complimentary day? Can these individuals come on a tour? What is the kind of process for when the case manager sends someone our way that they can inform the family? So we answered all those questions. We got the VCA signed, sent back to them. We sent them the proof of insurance that they needed. And at this point in time, we were now at the final stage of actually learning how to process claims. So we're approved, we got the VCA agreement, and now we got to learn how do we process claims, because those claims are going to actually come through OPTUM. And so at this point in time, you get a whole new packet with everything, step-by-step instructions as to what you need to do to process claims. And again, this is coming through OPTUM, which is part of United Healthcare, which is serving our region number 3. It could be different because we're dealing with United Healthcare in the state of Florida. So the billing system might be different if you're dealing with United Healthcare, which is, remember, it's a subsidiary of United Healthcare, okay? So OPTUM is a subsidiary of United Healthcare, but if you're in a different state, the way in which they bill for services could be slightly different, but you're still gonna have to go through the same process. So it's complicated, it's very state-by-state specific, and it's very region and then very local specific, because there's a lot of different areas across the country that have a ton of VA offices, and there's some areas that are very sparse and they may not have a lot of VA offices. And if that's the case, if there's not a great need, you may get delayed because you're in a smaller, more rural area if someone already has a contract. So just please take into consideration that someone's experience might be fast, another person's experience might be really, really slow, but it's a process. You gotta have patience. When you apply for this, this is not a a quick fix that's going to solve your problems and is going to allow you to immediately get signed up for the VA and solve your census problems. No, this is a long-term play to establish rapport in your community and to serve and help the veterans who took care of us for all these years. So just understand that going through this process is not going to happen overnight, and you should not rely on your census based on the VA. But it is it's another alternative route to earn income and to kind of diversify your revenue stream. But just know that this won't be a large majority of revenue stream, but they actually pay way more favorable than, say, some Medicaid rates. So if you're in an area that has lower Medicaid rates, you may want to look into VA over accepting Medicaid, because Medicaid may not make sense. I know in Florida, that's our battle right now, is that the Medicaid reimbursement rate does not make a lot of sense, and it's hard to stay in business with some of the pressures that have happened recently with inflation and wage increases and all this stuff. The way they reimburse for services, it's just not enough to cover all the expenses. But the VA is very, very gracious in the way that they compensate their providers for services. So it certainly is a great alternative revenue stream, but don't rely on it solely. It's not going to save the day, but it's a good alternative to have. So that being said, guys, I know this was a little long and a little wordy and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like it needs an explanation, because not even a step 1, 2, 3 like PDF is going to help explain the process, because it's going to be a lot different for everyone. And so sometimes it just takes a little extra kind of information, a little extra conversation to help maybe explain some of these things. If you have questions about becoming a VA provider and you're not sure where to go, what to do, make sure you comment below and ask your questions. Join us for the monthly webinars, ask your questions there. Make sure you join our private Facebook group. Happy to help you there as well. And if you're interested in owning your very own ActivAge, go to activagecare.com/franchise. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click here. We'll see you guys next time.